going to discuss the NHL trade rumors regarding Carey Price to the St. Louis Blues. In case you haven't heard about this, there's been some reports going around the internet suggesting that there might be a trade in the works. I'm going to address this and give you my thoughts, and that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So let's discuss these latest rumors regarding Carey Price, the Montreal Canadiens, and the St. Louis Blues. There is some reports surfacing that indicate that the Blues and Habs have been in trade discussions regarding the Blues acquiring Carey Price. Now, I first heard about this when I saw a video posted from another YouTube hockey channel here called Post to Post. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Post to Post. They put out great content, and if you haven't checked them out before, certainly check out Post to Post here on YouTube. They do great work and put out great content, and I highly recommend them. So if you're not familiar with them, check them out for sure. You won't be disappointed. But after watching their video, I got digging a little bit deeper, and I took what Neil on Post to Post had to say, checked out some other resources that I normally go to online to see what I could find in regards to these rumors. Now, there's not a whole lot on there, but the base of the story comes from a Montreal sports reporter that's on the radio. So, obviously, Montreal trading Carey Price is a major topic, and it's something a lot of people like to discuss. So, as you can imagine, the rumors are kind of spreading a lot more rapid fire here now that they've kind of had a chance to circulate a little bit. So, I want to give you my thoughts. In case you haven't heard of the deal, I'm going to tell you what was speculated, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on the situation, and we'll go from there. So here's what's reportedly being offered from the Blues to the Habs in order to obtain Carey Price. So the offer goes down like this. That originally they offered Jake Allen, prospect Robert Thomas, who is a center iceman and is projected to be a top 1 or 2 first or second line center in the NHL. Of course, as we all know with junior prospects, you just can't say for certain what they're going to turn out to be. But as of right now, that's what they're projecting for Thomas. He did have a very solid showing as he played for Team Canada at the most recent World Junior Hockey Tournament, which was just wrapped up there earlier this month. And so he did look really good, and at this point, we don't have reason to believe that he won't be that player. But as we all know, time will tell, I guess. And they were also offering a first-round pick. Now, the details didn't really elaborate as to what draft year the first-round pick would be, but it wouldn't be able to be 2018 because as of right now, the St. Louis Blues do not own a first-round draft choice. So it would have to be in either 2019 or 20, which I would assume the Habs would want as soon as possible. So most likely 2019. Now, the other part of the speculation was that the Habs countered that they didn't accept that offer, and that they countered with wanting Carter Hutton instead of Jake Allen, and that they did like Robert Thomas, so they wanted him included, and they didn't want one, but they wanted 2 first-round picks. So, here's my thoughts on the situation. For one, I'm not going to say that the speculation, obviously I know where the information came from. It does appear to be a reliable source. The Montreal reporter does apparently have, inside sources within the Habs organization. But I really don't think this trade makes a lot of sense. I'm going to tell you the reasons why here. For one, if they were going to make this deal, why would Montreal not want Carter Hutton over Jake Allen? That to me makes no sense. Now, before you say Hutton's been the better goalie lately, yes, he has. However, Carter Hutton is much older than Jake Allen. Jake Allen's 27, Hutton's 32. So do you want to trade a 30-year-old all-star goaltender and get older at that situation? Plus, he only has a contract after this year. So there's no guarantee you're going to keep him anyway. So that, for starters, makes absolutely no sense. Jake Allen has another 4 years left on his contract. He's a lot younger and long-term has a lot more potential. Like Allen has gone through a slump lately. He went through the same slump last year around the same time. So I'm not sure if it's like a seasonal thing for him or what it is. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody here, like in my opinion, you can't argue that Jake Allen wouldn't be the better choice long term. Like, yes, Hutton's played fantastic this year. He's been one of the top backup goalies in the league. But he has no contract beyond this year, and he's 32 years old. So why wouldn't you want the younger of the two? That doesn't make any sense to me. Robert Thomas, I can see them wanting Thomas. He's like, projected to be a top center. They need center iceman. It might take a few years for him to grow into the role, but okay, it makes sense. From St. Louis' standpoint, obviously counting with 2 first-round picks, okay, I can see the Habs wanting that. I'm not surprised at all that the request would be, if it were legitimate, that for Carey Price, they'd want a minimum of 4 pieces. In fact, considering what the Sabres are currently asking for Evander Kane, I wouldn't be surprised if the ask was bigger than 4 pieces. You're probably looking at, obviously they're looking at getting an existing goaltender, NHL level goaltender, a top prospect, and 2 first-round picks. I wouldn't be surprised if they asked for even maybe another roster player or another prospect be included. But that's just me. But from St. Louis's perspective, I'm not sure this deal really makes a lot of sense either. You already don't have a first-round pick this year, which is a very deep draft, which has a lot of talent in it. It's supposed to be a very good draft. And you're going to be looking at trading probably your first-round pick for the next 2 years. So you wouldn't have a first-round pick for 2018, 19, and 20 if you accepted the counteroffer, if this counteroffer is legitimate. I can see them wanting Price, but if they're going to counter with Hutton and keep Allen and Price, well, that makes no sense. You're going to have like almost $15 million tied up in your goaltending with 2 guys. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, as of today, the Blues don't have a lot of cap space. They will next year. Mainly because they got Paul Stastny coming off the books, and it's not 100% sure he's re-signing there. Maybe he re-signs for less money. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm not really sure this deal makes a lot of sense for either team. I mean, from the Blues' perspective, they have Jake Allen, who's 27 years old, with a very fair contract. Just getting into the prime of his career, and they have an experienced, solid backup in Hutton. I wouldn't be completely shocked to see Hutton get traded. I mean, not right now, though. Not as we head towards the playoffs. If the situation was different, he's a pending UFA, he's a top, goalie, or if he had a longer contract, or, maybe under different circumstances. And I've been talking here all along that I wouldn't be surprised to see the Blues make a move or 2 heading before the trade deadline. And they do have a lot of prospects that could help get this done. They've got Robert Thomas, they've got Klim Kostin, they've got Jordan Kyrou. They got Robbie Fabry, who's still only 22 years old, who's on injured reserve right now, been out all year. He's had some bad luck with injuries, but he's still considered a high-end prospect. You've got Tage Thompson, who's currently with the Blues, who's, I believe, only 20 years old. Like, they're not going to want to trade away too many of these young guys, because really a lot of their core players, they're not old, but they're not, at the younger side of it. They have got some older guys like Stastny and Steen, and, they're not, like I said, they're not an old team, but they need to balance out their youth with their experience. So I can see them dangling a prospect or 2 to get better with maybe some more scoring up front. But at the end of the day here, that deal doesn't make sense for me for the Blues. You're looking at trading for Carey Price, and yes, he's accomplished a lot. He might turn into another Vezina Trophy winner in the future again, might go back to his old playing self. But you're looking at a $10 million contract that's kicking in for 8 years. So that handcuffs you. He's signed till he's going to be 39 years old. You've got that factor, which is, that's not real attractive as much as you want that goaltender. He's obviously going to be going into next year, almost 4 years older than Jake Allen. So you're getting older at the position. You're going way up in contract value. You're going to part with some prospects, and you're not going to have any first-round picks for 2 to 3 years. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, goaltending to me is not what St. Louis needs. They have Jake Allen for the future. He's the present and the future, and you got Carter Hutton, who's helping the team right now as Allen battles through this slump. Like, you got to believe he will get through the slump, and he's going to regain his form. He always has before. You could argue that the Drouin and Sergachev deal and the PK and Weber deal, that right now the Habs are on the losing side of that. Maybe as the future goes on, things could change. But as of right now, you could argue that they're on the losing side of both of those deals, 100%. I don't think the deal makes any sense. I can't see there being anything to it. Obviously, there's some speculation here. I don't blame the other hockey YouTube channels like Post to Post for bringing it up. It's a big topic to discuss. I just don't see it happening myself, and I want to know what everybody else thinks. So I wanted to throw in my 2 cents just to let everybody know that I have heard the rumor. I wanted to address it. I don't think there's anything to it, and personally, I don't think the deal makes any sense for the St. Louis Blues. Now, if the Montreal Canadiens are going to go into a full-blown rebuild here, I can see why they might want to unload that contract. Signing him to that long for that much money, maybe it wasn't a good idea. Maybe they're having second thoughts before it kicks in. And if they're going to go into rebuild mode, maybe it does make sense to trade Carey Price. They were going to get Jake Allen in return, and they were going to get a high-end prospect and a couple first-round picks. If I were Montreal, to be honest, in the situation that they're in, I would probably do that deal. I mean, you need to restock the cupboards of prospects to rebuild this team for the future, and that would be a great way to do it. But, you know, could there be a better deal out there? I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I want to know yours. Does this deal make sense? And if you're a Habs or Blues fan, how would you feel about it? Certainly let me know down in the comments. Don't forget as well, we're on Twitter. You'll see our handle to our Twitter account right here. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. All the social media links are in the description down below. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.